Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It has been 2 weeks since our last shop tour, but I am back in the shop and pumped up to get a bunch of stuff done. So since we lost last week, here we are in the last Thursday of February already. So back into the shop, had a good week off, got a little bit of sun. You might be able to see a little bit here on my cheeks. Actually got burned. It's going away now a little bit, but sunscreen is your friend, and I attempted to use it. So anyway, sometimes things happen when you're closer to the equator. Anyway, let's get right into the shop tour here. So I just finished putting Jake Anton's bottom end together. So we've got the rods in, crank in, pistons are in, the rings are filed, ready to go. So what I need to do next is I kind of build these engines in 2 phases. I'll put all the bottom end stuff out here, get it all assembled, and then I'll go cleaning and organizing everything else for the top end. But I did CC the cylinder head, so we've got the right compression for this STL 1.6 engine. So getting ready to finalize the bottom end. In the meantime, I've got one of the X-Track transmissions on the bench here. So we need to do a drop gear change in this transmission, which was the spare, which is now going into the car because Steve felt like the tranny that was in the car didn't shift all that well. We did end up with a funny little issue with this new one. There's a detent here. The barrel mechanism for the sequential sits right in this area inside the case, and this detent had gotten galled up in here, and it wouldn't allow this tranny to engage the next gear. So the way a sequential works is when you pull it back, it clocks the barrel, and then when you release it, the detent has to hold it, and then it goes to the next one, clocks again. It wasn't going into first gear, so Steve really didn't get that much time in the Camaro down at Coda, unfortunately. So we're going to see if we can be a little more diligent about making sure that we have a little more reliability built into these transmissions. So seems like it's always something with that car. But in the meantime, we've got a shop full. So Mike Fro's car is just kind of sitting over here now. Actually, I have another car coming in this afternoon that will be here probably in the next hour. We've got Ken Kennard's engine all packed up and heading down to OPM in Georgia. So the truck freight company should be here this afternoon for that. Of course, the Camaro has resumed the position. Fortunately, because he really didn't get many laps in, it's more of just a transmission prep. But from now on, I think what we're going to do is before every weekend, I'm just going to put it on the dyno, shift it through the gears, make sure that everything's working properly, and that way when he gets to the track, if there's any little niggling problem, I've already experienced it on the dyno. So I think he's the kind of driver that just wants things perfect. So I don't know if we saw this last week or not, or 2 weeks ago, but I did get the brake system completed. Just waiting on some Hoosier tires, but the new wheels, the 10-inch wheels for the front with some little spacers worked out just beautiful. Got the brakes all done. Waiting on some tires so I can do a little alignment action and corner weighting. So just kind of working on that kind of stuff. He did send me a new helmet that I need to install some Hans device stuff on. And then because Jake's engine is just about completed, we're going to shuffle his car onto the main lift to get the engine installed, running and dynoed. And then we'll be doing the same thing with Mike Fro's car because I've got more and more cars coming in, such as Bill Miller's right over here. So Bill dropped his RX-7 off this morning, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing in production now. You can install a drop floor for the driver to give a little more head clearance. So he's actually got a nice new seat set up and ready to go that we will fit into the car after the drop floor. And look at this, guys, another brand new Emco transmission. So Bill's getting a brand new Emco installed. The beauty of this situation is Emco made these for RX-7s, and so we don't have to do an adaptation for a Miata. So it's going to bolt right in. He already had a PBS. Some of you have asked me, do these bolt right in place of a PBS? The answer is yes. They do bolt right in place of a PBS, so essentially it's a plug and play. But I think we may be changing his shifter location. So once I get the drop floor done, get his seat in, I'll get Bill to come back to the shop. We'll get him in the car, see if we can get his shifter position just right. But I'm really excited for him. Honestly, I don't know that we've had an Emco in here for a shop tour in quite a while, if ever. I'm not sure, but these are really, really nice transmissions. Mazda had Emco make them as a replacement for the PBS a few years ago. So I actually got to use the first one in my RX-7 for those of you that ever saw it. Paul Penider owns that car, and I'm assuming that that transmission is still in that car, although he doesn't run it very much, but he should. Anyway, in the meantime, I think we're getting pretty darn close for getting the BMW wrapped. I think the new design has been completed, and we may be able to get that installed here shortly. So not sure when all of that's going to be unveiled, but at least we've got some progress going on. So a little bit here, a little bit there. Hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day last week. Obviously, I was down in Mexico, so I was enjoying a little bit better weather than most of you out there. But back in the shop, ready to get back to work, and got a lot to do before we've got Atlanta coming up in 2 weeks that the Camaro will be going off to, as well as I know that Perry, Simons, and Mason Workman are going, and Ken Kennard. Ken won't have his new engine in for Atlanta, but I know those guys are going there. So speaking of which, the COTA report, besides the Camaro being down there and not really running much, Steven Simons was down there with his brand new car and picked up 2 second-place finishes, I believe, in his very first weekend. And actually, Perry was hanging right with Sam Henry for Saturday's race. I mean, he was right on his bumper and made a little mistake, spun, and just tapped to the wall. And had a couple other little issues with, I think, his power management system over the weekend. But the new car of Stevens worked flawlessly from what I've heard. Everything's beautiful, which I really enjoy hearing about on a very first weekend for a new JPM built car. So happy about that. Congratulations to him. And we've got a big F production field for Atlanta in 2 weeks. So that'll be interesting to watch as well. So that's where we're at, guys. Just pounding it out here. I've got so many things on my mind to get working on and to get going and to get completed, and there's just a lot. It's that time of year. 'Tis the season. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care.